Okay, and good afternoon, and welcome to How to Write Effective Marketing Emails for Any Situation. Our guest speaker today is Brad Friedman with the Friedman Group. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Brad.
Okay, thanks. Like Amira said, I'm Brad Friedman. I have a digital marketing firm here in Denver, Colorado. I am going to talk to you today about writing effective emails. Today's session is actually sponsored by Constant Contact, the email marketing services provider who has generously provided me to you at no cost. At no cost to you, that is. I did spend a few minutes putting the presentation together and being here today, but otherwise, so just to let you know, at the very end, before I answer all your questions, there's one slide that I have to put in that tells you a little bit about Constant Contact. Other than that, there's no pitches, there's no nothing. And like Amira said, at the end, I'm happy to send you the slides. I'm hoping that you'll want the slides because I try real hard to give you a ton of valuable information pretty much on every slide. Of course, there's a few little, fluff slides in there with the agenda and that kind of stuff. But I think I've got 36 or so slides in here, and I would bet you that 30 of them have valuable, jam-packed information in there that you're going to just want to read over and over and over again, and you're not going to get it all just by me babbling on. So I hope you're going to want the slides and be able to use them. I'm sure that you know that there's a ton of competition in your inbox. We all get a lot of email. I know that every morning I get up and look at my email, and the first thing I do is go down and just delete. There's email I don't even open. I just know. I look at the subject line, I look to see who it's from, and I just delete, so that I'm left with the email that I actually want. Back in 2016, it was estimated that 205 billion emails were sent on a daily basis. And that number was expected to be 246 billion by the end of last year, and we're still waiting to see if that was actually the number. I'm guessing it was probably a little higher just based upon the fact that I think that number was just in my own inbox alone. So I'm guessing it was way, way, way above that number. So we're talking about this today because your emails need to be able to compete with all the noise that's in everybody else's inbox. So it's not just you and me that are inundated with these emails, it's everybody. So you want to be able to write emails that provide value to your audience so that they actually open them. And once they open them, we want them to do what you are actually asking them to do in the email. So it's really a multi-step process that we're going to talk about today. One, we want to learn how to get people to open our emails. And then two, we want to get them to do what you're asking them to do in your email. And I'm going to talk to you about why it's important that when you send an email, you actually want people to do something with your email, whether it's go somewhere, click on a link, reply, sign up for something, or something like that. But you don't want people to just ignore your emails or do what I do first thing in the morning, which is just go down and click and delete. So all of that, so it's pressure. There's pressure when you're competing with 246 billion emails to get people to pay attention to you. So we need to figure out how we're going to deal with that. And I know for some of you, It's a daunting task. You might not know what to send. You might think that it feels like it takes too long to write an email, or you feel like you're not really a good writer, or maybe you're someone who's been doing email for a while and you're just trying to write your emails in a way that get people to open them and take action. Well, you want to write your email in a way that tells a story, builds a connection with your customers or your supporters or your prospects or your leads or whoever it is that you're writing to. No matter what you feel when you sit down to write an email, we're going to talk about it today. We're going to cover it, I hope. And if we don't, I want you to ask a question so that I can hit the point that I miss. Not likely that I'm going to miss, but hopefully. So that's why I put together this workshop. My goal is to help you write great emails that actually help your business so that you can break through the barrier, compete in the inbox. And I hope I've got some ideas that I'm going to share with you that are going to make this process a lot easier for you. So here's what we're going to really talk about today. I'm going to talk about the different types of emails. I'm going to give you a simple formula to write any email. I'm going to give you some more tips for writing successful emails. And we're going to get right to it. So before we talk about what to put in your emails, I want to touch base on the fact that not all of your emails should be promotions to sell products or services, or if you're in the nonprofit world, to ask for donations. I'm sure you can relate that nobody likes to be sold to all the time. I know I don't. So not all of your emails should be promotional. You're going to want to do a variety of different types of emails that keep your business or your nonprofit top of mind. That's the goal. That's a major goal with email marketing. You want to build a relationship with your audience that over time encourages them to continue doing business with you, along with continuing to open your email. So that's why I want you to include a mixture of time-based and informational emails. So as a reminder, time-based emails are when you have time-sensitive information like sales or promotions or events. And then informational emails are they help you to connect with your readers. It's when you can provide valuable content that helps you to support your products or your services, and it keeps people in the know about what you do. So there's a nice mix there of information, time-based, informational, that helps keep people in the know, and it mixes it up so that people don't always feel like they are being sold to. So along that brings up this very common question that I get all the time. So let's hit it right now. How often should I send? Okay, I have no idea. So that's very quick answer. How often should I send? There's no answer to that question. But think about this. If you sign up for daily email tips, how often are you expecting me to email to you? Okay. If you sign up to an email list that says I'm going to email to you twice a month, how often are you expecting me to email to you? In short, what I'm telling you is set up the expectations to your audience up front. Let your subscribers know right from the get-go what to expect to you. So maybe that's setting up an automated welcome email. When I sign up for your email list, send me a welcome email right away that says, thanks for signing up for my email list. We send out monthly email newsletters, and occasionally you might get a special update from me, because you want to leave yourself some room for something special just in case. So you're not always tied to that, but let people know what the expectation is, because you might deviate from that, because there might be something super exciting that happens that you want to let people know. But let people know what to expect. Maybe there's something that comes up that you want to let them know. But to be honest, going back to the beginning, there just isn't a one size fits all rule for every business. You got to know your audience. You've got to know what they want from you. You could even ask, doesn't hurt. But different industries, different kinds of businesses, there's different expectations. Let me give you an example. Schools and religious institutions, they often can get away with sending more emails because people expect to get more information from those kinds of institutions. Schools and religious institutions also can get away with writing longer emails because people expect longer emails from those kinds of, I mean, they're not, I hate to use the word businesses, but institutions. So if you're, so, I mean, just to give you an example, those kinds of institutions can get away with more often, and maybe, you know, it's kind of surprise emails when things come up, especially these days. So, you know, you want to set expectations. You want to surprise people when things come up. But there's no real set things. There's some things that we go by. So there was a study by a company called Marketing Sherpa, and they found that 60% of customers prefer to receive emails from brands at least weekly. Okay, so use your discretion, test it, ask people. You're likely to hear from people if you're sending too often. Now, sometimes you hear in the way of people unsubscribing. And a lot of people set up those systems where when you unsubscribe, you go to a little landing page and it says, "We're sorry to see you go. Will you tell us why?" Sometimes I fill those out. Sometimes I don't. It's not really the best way to get information as to why people are leaving. Sometimes it's better to ask before. Maybe you do an email and the only topic of the email is, "Hey, hope you're finding our emails valuable. How often would you like to receive them?" Click reply and let me know. So maybe you'll get some answers, maybe you won't. Generally speaking, if you really want an answer, I would say most businesses can easily get away with sending a monthly email newsletter. So when I'm working with the client, that's generally where we start. Again, depends on the business, depends on the audience, depends on a lot of things. But based upon what I heard you say when you were introducing yourselves today, I would say for the three of you, a monthly email newsletter with a few little, "Hey, something exciting happened," in between would not be a bad place to start. Okay, so that's the how often should I send. Different types of email, simple formula email. One of the most common types of emails that small businesses think about is offers and promotions. Okay, these are pretty straightforward. You can choose to promote whatever you need. For these types of emails, you're directly asking people to do something that affects your bottom line. Okay, these are those promotional emails that I don't want you to do every single month or every single email, but these are the emails that directly affect your bottom line. So I want you to do them, and I want you to do them well. So you might offer a coupon or a discount. You might promote a product or a service that you offer, provide a free resource, or ask them to book a consultation. Now, if you are a nonprofit, you would think about promotions as a fundraising campaign, or asking for volunteers. Just want to make sure you include any instructions to get the resource or redeem a coupon or offer, and include an end date for your promotion. The other thing you want to do in these emails is make sure that your call to action is toward the top of the email. Okay, with every email you send today, I want you to think about the fact that somebody's reading it on a mobile device. Okay, I'm reading it on my cell phone. So what's at the top, I'm going to see first. Don't make me scroll down to see your 20% off coupon or your fundraising pitch, or even that one in the middle, that book a consultation button. I would want higher. I would want above the fold. I'd probably want that after the first paragraph in that email. Because I don't want people to have to scroll too far to get to, and we're going to talk about this later, the call to action. So think about the fact that every email, you might as well just think about every email as being read on a mobile device. Okay, I know that's not the case, but I want you to think about the fact when you're creating an email that every email is being read on a mobile device. Even if I look at that on my desktop computer, you want to grab my attention with it above the fold anyway. You don't know how big my monitor is, or you don't know if I'm looking at it on my laptop or a big monitor or anything. So think about keeping that above the fold. Okay, so one type of email are these promotional emails. Another type of email that we see a lot are event emails. You can promote an event. You can encourage registrations, save the date emails to give people heads up about your event. You can send reminder emails. You can remind people to register. Then you can remind people that have registered when the event date is coming up. All of those emails you need to think about sending in advance. So always work from the event date backwards and think about what do I want to accomplish, and then set up a string of emails. And then of course I want to automate that so that all I need to do is somebody registers and then they get in a system and boom, 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 all of a sudden they're getting these emails. So once they register, then they get the reminder, they get the save the date, they get the reminder, they get the invitation, all of those things all at once. And depending on your event, the content can vary, and you can give them the list of speakers. And I mean, there's lots of ways that you can take advantage of email when you're having an event. And the reason why I go through this is because people can share your emails about your event with other people. So you want to think about, and the same goes for those promotional emails. Okay, so you want to think about these kinds of emails as being shareable. And you might even put a message at the bottom that says, if you have a friend or colleague that might be interested in this, don't be shy about forwarding my email to them. Because word of mouth marketing is a very powerful tool. And email is a great way to take advantage of word of mouth marketing. So think about that as you're preparing the content for these emails too. And that's why multiple emails about all of these things can be helpful, because people can share your content. You can reach out. You could reach people that you don't even know exist because they're not on your email list, and people are sharing your emails with other people. Okay, other kinds of emails that we all know about that are helpful for you to get into your repertoire are celebrating holidays. Again, these can all be automated. People get in your system. You pick formal holidays, fun national holidays. One of my favorites, I slipped in here, National Donut Day. I like to celebrate, I think we just had it within the last few weeks, which was National Dog Day. I love my dog and try to get my dog on my Facebook page whenever I can. But the fun holidays, those kinds of things are very, very helpful, very important to celebrate fun things along with all of the formal things. You could do all kinds of different things around holidays. I like to also have you share things, how-to information, step-by-step instructions, do-it-yourself information, checklists, guides, tips, best practices, frequently asked questions. All of you here today have this kind of information that you can share with your email list in your own particular situations. This kind of information is very simple to put into an email. People find this helpful. And again, just going back to the very beginning where I talked about how we want to bust through that block in the inbox, we're talking about value add information. Okay. And we're also talking about not promoting all the time. So you're not promoting if you're giving a checklist, if you're giving something helpful, a step-by-step video instruction, a do-it-yourself, a tips and best practices and frequently asked questions. So think about these kinds of things to sort of mix it up in your normal email rotation. Okay, we want to try to also create some engagement. I personally, in some of the other workshops that I do for Amira, I make the case that email marketing is like social media marketing. In many ways, email is like social media in that you can click on reply, which is like leaving a comment. You can forward, which is like sharing. There's all kinds of similarities, but you want to create engagement with your email just like you want to create engagement with your social media. So ask for reviews. Okay, your business needs reviews online. So ask for them. And then give them a link to your favorite review site, whether it's Google or Yelp or whatever it is, so that people can click and leave you a review. Maybe you want to give them a survey to fill out or something. Restaurants can do things. It just depends on what kind of business you have, but try to create some engagement, obtain feedback, understand what your customer needs, what their preferences are, and do that through your email. People love to see what you're doing behind the scenes. This kind of email featuring employees, if you're a nonprofit, volunteers, showing people sort of how the sausage is made. Well, maybe not if you're actually a sausage maker. People might not really want to know how the sausage is made. But showing people behind the scenes, I've never really understood it, to be honest with you, but people love this stuff. And let me give you a real life example. I had a client once that made software. And I got to tell you, it's the most boring business on the planet to market. This company had 12 people that came in every day, and they sat down at a computer that had 2 monitors, And each person sat down every day. They put their headphones on and turned on their music, and they had these black screens. And on one screen, they had green code. And on the other screen, every time they typed it, the other screen showed what their code was doing. And all they did was sit there all day and type code and see what it was doing. It was the most boring thing you could imagine. So they said, how are we going to market this? So it was challenging. What we came up with was every Friday, all 12 of those people went into the conference room and met around the table. And one week we put in a bunch of bagels and they smiled, and we took a picture and we put it up on Facebook. And the next week it was donuts. And the week after that, it was cupcakes. And I'm telling you, it was like we struck oil. These posts on Facebook got more engagement than you could imagine, because all of a sudden, the people that liked their Facebook page realized that there were human beings that were creating this software. I don't know. I mean, I guess I never really thought about the fact that when I open up Microsoft Word, there were hundreds of thousands of people that actually wrote the code that made that work, or QuickBooks or whatever. There's actually people that write the code that make that work. And in this case, people actually realized that there were human beings that were making this software work, and they were actually getting to put a face to the software, and they loved it. So even if it's pictures of you sitting at your computer smiling while you're typing or something, people love seeing the behind the scenes stuff in a little picture, along with some other valuable content in your email. Don't be shy about doing that. Give them some news, updates, happenings in your company. Maybe there's a new hire. When you adopt that dog that you're looking for, you want to let people know. When you have that grandchild, let people know. This kind of stuff, it sounds silly, but it personalizes you. It lets people know that you're a human just like they are. You celebrate the same kind of events that they do. My daughter got married last year. I let everybody know, and I got emails from people that I hadn't heard from in maybe years that congratulated me. And, I sort of rekindled relationships with people on my email list just from that kind of happy occasion thing that other people could relate to. That, I don't know. And I actually thought about it for a little while, because it's kind of a personal thing. It's kind of a private thing, but yeah, it was, wasn't like a surgery or something. So it was a great thing. So let people know things, events, happy things, because people care about those things. And again, you're not selling to them. And it's nice sometimes not to be sold to. So when we're talking about newsletters, I think there's some tips that I can give you, whether they're monthly or, however many you decide to send each month. One, if you can, segment your lists. Okay, so when I talk about segmenting a list, my number one tip about segmenting a list is start segmenting your list at the very beginning. Because it's hard to go back and segment a list after you already have a list of 1,000. So a good example of this is the pet store near me, who one time sent me a email about a sale they were having on cat food. And one, I'm not a huge fan of cats. Don't want to offend anybody, but I'm not a huge fan. Mainly it's because I'm allergic to them. Yes, my daughter has 2 of them, and she lives in San Francisco, and one of her cats is actually not very friendly. Some would actually call her cat vicious. And lo and behold, because I'm not a big cat lover and very allergic, every time I go visit her, this cat who, when anybody walks into the apartment, the back goes up and the tail does whatever it does and the claws come out. When I walk into her apartment, that cat looks at me, and it could be after an entire year. That cat looks at me and then walks over and rubs up against my leg and goes between my legs and runs around me. And when I sit on the couch, she jumps up and gets on my shoulder. And of all of her friends, that cat loves me to death. But long story to tell you, I visited my pet store and said, don't send me emails about cat food, because I get 3 billion emails a day, and I want your emails about dog food sales, not cat food. So segment your list. My lists are segmented into lawyers and doctors and CPAs and insurance people, because I send different information to those people, because those people want different information. So segment your list when possible. If you can, I suggest each email only contain one topic, especially if you're really trying to drive action. But you might find it valuable to have more than one topic. Don't have any more than 3. Okay, I once wrote an entire blog post on a study that I found, that a professor wrote on, if you give people too many choices, they don't make choices, any decision at all. So if there's too many buttons to click or too many things to read or too many choices to make, they're going to freeze and not do anything. So if you actually want people to do something, don't give them too many choices to do it, and make your emails short. So you can see on this example the read more button. So this is a fairly short email where you could click to read more. This is actually more than one email on this example with a read more button so that you could expand it out. So try to make your emails short, no more than 3 topics. Make sure that you're sending the right information to the right person when you can. Think about sending automated emails. Those are going to be helpful. In most cases, a welcome email is a nice thing to send when people sign up for your email list. Very easy to schedule anniversary emails, but think of anniversary emails not necessarily as a wedding anniversary. It could be a work anniversary. If you're a realtor, for example, it could be the anniversary that when you bought your home. There's all kinds of different types of anniversaries. The anniversary of your insurance policy. There's all kinds of anniversaries. And then the classic birthday email, which is an easy automated email to set up. The beauty of these emails is that you set them up in your system and they just happen every year. It's a beautiful thing. Very easy to do. So simple formula for your email is, I always get the question of what the length should be. So again, it varies by industry, by audience. I would tell you that the statistics that we have are 20 lines of text or 200 words result in the highest click rate. Okay. I don't want you to write an email and then really go through and count and, make sure that you're there. But I mean, it's different. Some emails are going to be longer because of the type of email and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So take the 2 emails on the screen, for example. In this example, the promotion on the left has less text than the one on the right because they're sharing educational information along with a video on the Right. So you want to provide enough information to keep people interested and get them to take the action that you want them to take. So on the left, you want them to click that buy now. Okay. So you want to be short, sweet, click my button, buy. On the right, you want them to read and get the information. And then if they watch the video, they watch the video. Okay. So, it just depends on what it is that you want them to do. All right. Once you know what it is that you want your email content to be about, then you can sit down and start writing the actual content. And just remember that I think, at least for purposes of today, I'm going to give you a simple format for every email that you write that includes a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. So, to write your effective email marketing for today, I'm suggesting a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. And I'm going to break it down for you to make it even easier. Once you figure it out for the body of your email, this is sort of what people sometimes, I don't know, they either overthink or they trip over or they, I don't know. So I'm going to try to give you some kind of structure that you can work from here. So let's start out with, what are you offering? So let's think about your email. What are you offering? And this can be your headline. Boldface, bigger print, stop the reader with a headline. What are you offering? Next up, how's it going to help the reader? Okay, you're not selling me, you're helping me. Okay, in one of my other workshops and in a keynote speech I give, I call this shelping. Shelping. We're selling by helping. It's a great way to sell. So how are we going to help the reader? I'm not selling, I am helping. So the message of the body provides the details of how I'm going to help my reader. And then the third question I want you to ask when you're writing your email is, what should the reader of my email do next? Okay, this is that call to action, that all important call to action. What should they do next? And in most cases, that should be a button. Sometimes it's a link. Generally, it's a button that has a link embedded in it because people respond well to buttons. And then they click on that. So it's very simple. These are the three things. What are you offering? How's it going to help the reader? And what should they do next? Now, these questions will be different if you're a nonprofit. If you're a nonprofit, what are you trying to accomplish? Why should the reader care? And how can the reader get involved? Same sort of concept, but slightly different for the nonprofit. Okay, still asking three simple questions and a call to action. All right, sometimes people also get hung up on the content. I've got to create all this. Oh my God, it takes so long. How am I going to come up with all of this? Well, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to come up with all of the content. You can curate content, meaning you can get content from other sources and include that content in your email, because remember, we're not always pitching. We're not always selling. We're not always promoting. So share valuable content that you get from other resources. I like to use a tool called feedly.com. From feedly.com, you can use Feedly. There's a free version, there's a paid version. They will grab content for you that you key in keywords. They'll grab content from sources that you like and give you content that you can then click on and share from other blogs, from all over the internet, based upon the information that you ask for, that you can share in your own email newsletters. Now, don't just put a link to that content in your email, but the beauty of this is that you're sharing other content that you don't have to create. So offer your own perspective, give a little lead into why it's relevant, why it adds value to the reader, and then give some credit. Now you're giving some credit by giving that read more button, or you say, I got this off of somebody's blog or whatever, so that people know right away it's not your own content, and send it out. It's a beautiful way to give valuable information. Maybe it's industry specific or something like that that you're sharing with your audience. It's not promotional. It adds value. It's a beautiful way to send out an email newsletter. All right. Another very important piece of information in order to get people to open your email is the subject line. Now, this might sound silly, but before people can read your email, they need to open it. Did you ever think about that? The subject line is one of the first things that your subscribers will see in the inbox, so you have to be able to entice them to open your email. It takes about 100 milliseconds for you to form an impression of someone. The truth is that your subscribers are forming impressions of your emails just as quickly. I told you how I read my email first thing in the morning. Probably doesn't even take 100 milliseconds for me to delete right down that list. Now, as much as I would love to give you the winning subject line structure that will work, of course, I can't. But because it's going to vary on your audience, it's going to vary on your targeting as well as your business and your industry. But I do have some great tips and suggestions, giving you some things on what to consider in order to get it right. First and foremost, I suggest that you create subject lines that are between 4 to 7 words. Okay? 4 to 7 words. Now, let's talk about some things that you would want to consider in order to write a good subject line in 4 to 7 words. For me personally, I like to write my subject line after I've written my entire email, because this allows me to really look back at the content of my email so that I can write a subject line that speaks to what my content is about. It's an important rule that you want to make sure you're not writing a subject line that is misleading, just to get them to click and open up the email. So look at your content and then think about what you're trying to accomplish with your email. You could potentially pull out a key phrase from the body, or even include something relating to your call to action within the subject line. Your email should really focus on the benefit of why the reader should care, or how your email can help the reader. Remember, those are questions that help you write your email's body copy. So make sure that your subject line reflects that and shows them the benefit to opening up the email. Again, I like to focus on this, how it can help. So let's take a look at a few sample ideas for some subject lines. One quick idea is to look at maybe making them laugh. Okay, so maybe you are a landscape company. How about calm down, Mother Nature? Snow isn't going to slow us down. Another idea that I like is incorporating numbers in your subject lines. Numbers attract attention. Our brains are naturally drawn to digits. So try something like 5 tips for perfectly grilled ribs. Another idea is to be inquisitive and ask your readers a question, such as, are your investments working for your business? Now, with this one, you'll notice that in the mobile view, and we talked mobile earlier, in the mobile view, the subject line gets cut off. So I might suggest rewriting the subject line as, are your investments working? Now, if this were me, I might also rewrite the pre-header and make it shorter. 3 questions to maximize returns. That way it fits better. You can also pull at the heartstrings by using an emotional subject line like, take 5 minutes to help animals in need. This is going to be really important if you're a nonprofit, because nonprofits want to pull at the heartstrings. And again, this one is also a bit longer, so I'd suggest making it a little shorter, maybe just take 5 minutes to help. Another is to create a sense of urgency. Sometimes you see this sense of urgency in your subject lines. Last chance, register by Friday. And again, I'd make this pre-header shorter and say, classes are almost full. So those are some examples. Again, remember my sort of obsession with the fact that people are going to be reading things on mobile means your subject line and your pre-header text needs to be short and sweet. People are going to be scanning their inbox on mobile. And I want to make sure you know what I mean when I say pre-header text. So the pre-header text is what shows up directly below or after the subject line in the inbox. It's like almost like a second subject line. So you can use this too to catch that reader's attention. So think about that. In a tool like Constant Contact, you have the ability to create your own pre-header text. So you want to take advantage of that. It's a separate field that you have more control over. So you want to think about that so that it pulls out nicely and it fits in on a mobile device too. Okay, so we've talked about different types of emails. I've given you a simple formula, and we're going to talk about a few more tips for successful emails after I take a quick drink of water, because I've been talking for 50 minutes. Geez. And we're going to go real quick because we're running out of time. All right. Again, get personal, send targeted, and I mean get personal with your audience. Get personal by sending segmented, targeted lists to your list. I want them targeted, okay? I want you to write as if you are writing to one person, okay? I don't want you to ever again use the word e-blast or email blast. Those words drive me crazy because it's so impersonal. I want to encourage you to stop using those terms no matter how big your list is. When you write an email, I want you to think about the fact that you're writing to one person. So when you sit down, I want you to think about one person on your email list and target that email to that one person. So use words like you and your, and show your personality, be authentic, because that's what's going to resonate with your audience. And make sure you're taking advantage of what your email service provider will do. So make sure the beginning says, "Dear Brad," when you can, instead of "hello" or "hi there" or "greetings." Now, most of those email service providers have a secondary greeting if you don't have a first name. So like mine is set up to say, "Dear Brad." But if I don't know that, if you signed up for my list and you didn't give me a name, but you gave me an email address, then it is going to say "greetings." But if you gave me a first name, you're going to get an email that says, "Hi, Brad." Well, hopefully it'll say, "Hi, your name," and not "Hi, Brad." But try to be personal in your emails, because it's going to be much better. It's going to have a much better feeling, and people are going to like that. All right. One tip I can give you is to keep a list of questions that you get from your clients or customers. Okay, we all get questions during the week. People call us and they ask a question. Have a form. I use Evernote. Um, I also have a journal that I write in, when I take notes of phone calls. Have a place where you just write down questions that you get. Because if one person is asking you that question, they're not the only person that has it. These questions can become email content. So look at your list of questions on those during those months when you're wondering, what the heck am I going to put in my email newsletter? All right, next thing I want to talk about is using power words or even bizarre words in order to catch your audience's attention. So you can use power words in order to trigger psychological or emotional responses from to your email messages. These words are called power words because they can help to persuade your audience. So this generally is the slide that gets people to give me their name and email address. Even though like I said, all I'm going to do is send you the slides. I'm not going to put you on my email list or anything like that. But people always love, what are these power words that are going to trigger a response? These words really are words that are important to think. These words are to think about putting in your subject line. These are words that get people to open emails. These are words that Constant Contact has done some research on and has come up with. They can be used to get people to open emails, to get people to keep reading your emails. They can go in the body of your emails. They can get people to click on buttons. They fall into a few different categories. I got 4 of these categories here. You can also Google power words, and Google will give you power words also. You just need to think about the emotion or response that you're trying to trigger. And then you can go to Google and tell Google, uh-oh, my Google is now going to talk. Hold on. Sorry, was not talking to you. Yeah, I wasn't talking to you. Sorry. Um, you could go to that, or whatever else you use, and find those words too. That these words are great. They will certainly help you. Again, I want to tell you, every business is different. You've got to test. What works for one business may not work for another. It's all due to the fact that we all have different audiences. Every audience has a different feel. We all have different products. We all have different services. We all operate different. We all also made different promises when people signed up for our email list. So this is where you really want to do some testing. Most email services providers like Constant Contact give you tools to do some testing. One of the tests that I think is very helpful, because again, we're going back to the people need to open your emails in order to read them. So one of the great tests to be able to perform is A/B testing on your subject lines. So this is a screenshot of showing you testing 2 different subject lines. And it's a great thing to do. Anything that you can test, if you could do the exact same email newsletter, divide your list in half, try 2 different subject lines, and then see which subject line people opened more emails to, gives you a great sample for the next time. We do tests of different buttons, the colors, There's all kinds of things that you can test. Different words. Do people? I have a client that is a placement company, and we test the difference between learn more and apply now, for example. Which button, the button goes to the exact same place. And whether you are learning more about the job or applying now, it's the same landing page. But we like to see which button resonates more. So test everything that you can to see what's going to work best. Okay, so at this point, we've covered a ton of information. I hope you got at least one good tip out of 32 slides. So we're going to recap just a little bit. First and foremost, try to include some variety with promotional and informational emails in your strategy. When you're not sure what to say, curate content that will still provide value and engagement. Next up, follow the formula for your type of business organization. Answer those 3 questions in your headline, body, and on your call to action button. It's going to save you time and help to make sure you're providing the necessary information to your audience. And 3, remember to get personal. It starts by sending targeted, relevant information and then writing as if you're writing to one person to make the conversation sound like it was meant for one person. Okay, so like I said, one slide about Constant Contact, which is an email marketing provider who also now has been purchased by a company, and they do website design, social media ads and management. You can do some design work in Constant Contact where you can create logos and build e-commerce landing pages and websites. And even though there's about a 5-minute pitch written into this, that's all I'm going to do. Questions, you can unmute, and I'm happy to answer questions. I can't see because my whole screen is taken up, but I think we're right at the top of the hour, or maybe even a little late. Anybody have any questions?
No questions from nobody?
One other thing, if you don't have an email service provider and you do want to use Constant Contact, the one nice thing I can give you is 30% off for the first 3 months if you sign up using iwantemail.us. So I just offer you that. Other than that, I am, like we said at the beginning, I'm happy to send you the slides. Hope you got something out of this.
Could you let us know just a little bit, giving you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about the book that you had denoted at the first slide, the Inbound Marketing? Just give us a little info on that, why we should buy that book.
Sure. So it's funny you say that, because I have a friend who's a YouTube video guy, and at the end of every video, he says, buy my book to help feed my pets. And that would be a reason. How does that help? So yes, I did write a book called Inbound Marketing, the Small Business Owner's Guide for Inbound Marketing, which actually takes you through the whole sort of circuit of inbound marketing, from building a website to social media marketing and to inbound marketing, which is really all about this concept that I just touched on for 2 seconds of shelping, where you're helping your buyer move through the buyer's journey by giving them something at each stage of the buyer's journey until you walk them to the decision-making stage where they have made a decision already to purchase from you, because you've developed trust and credibility with them. So the book really takes you from building your website all the way through walking a buyer through each stage of the buyer's journey through this shelping process, and teaches you how to do that, the different kinds of things you can give people at each stage of that journey in order to build trust and credibility until you get them to the point where they actually want to talk to you and buy from you. It's a couple years old, but it's still a wonderful read.
And where do we find this book?
You could find that book on Amazon.com.
The thing that fascinated me about the title or intrigued me, the reason why I asked, was a great marketing ploy in itself, because you would expect to see outbound marketing, because marketing is an outbound thing, and you've twisted that to say that it's inbound, that there's an inbound component of that, and then that makes me want to read the book.
Yeah, so I mean, really the concept is the total opposite of outbound, and the idea is that we're doing things that bring people to us. So it's not the billboard on 6th and Spear that gets 40,000 people. Well, that used to get 40,000 people to drive by it when people could get out of their house and actually drive by it. But the idea is that people are online and they see, that we're offering them a free ebook, something to download, and they download that, and then they see from that we're giving them a video, and because they've decided they want to buy our widget, and then they're getting an ebook about how to use these widgets, and then they see a video on how to use these widgets, and then they get a free demo, and then they get the sales call. So we're bringing them inbound to us, as opposed to sending them emails and television ads and doing all the outbound stuff that's so expensive. We've set up inbound campaigns that are automated and run on their own and bring them into us. Yeah, it's a very cool concept that is people like a lot better, because everybody's doing research now. The idea is that people have pretty much made up their mind to buy from you before you even talk to them. And this is helping them do that through this concept of inbound marketing.
Thank you for that. And also, just one follow-up question as far as Constant Contact. Do you know if they have any special offerings for nonprofit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do. They do have special offers for nonprofits.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for teaching.
Yeah, if you use this iwantemail.us, what happens is you get a free trial. It's like 90 days. And then sometime during that trial, one of those wonderful Constant Contact customer service sales reps is going to give you a call, and you tell them that you are a nonprofit, and they will tell you the deal. And if you're not a nonprofit, they'll give you the code for 30% off for 3 months.
Thank you. And Brad, you'll include that will you include that information when you send the email for the presentation?
You bet.
Okay, great. Okay. Oh, Phyllis, you're muted.
I just wanted to say thank you. It was very informative.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks
coming.
All right. So with that, I'm going to stop the video.